Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to Anime Art for Amateurs, Episode 2. Now, I know I promised last time that I would either do a tutorial on hands or a tutorial on clothes. And as you can see, since I already have the hands drawn, we're going to do a tutorial on clothes. But I'm going to make this tutorial a little bit special. There's a certain little show, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, it's called RWBY, and their 6th season, or their 6th volume, is about to premiere later, October 27th. So I decided, why not make this tutorial a little special and teach y'all how to draw RWBY. So, we're going to be learning how to draw her outfit today, and we're going to be using that to kind of teach y'all how to draw different types of clothes. She wears baggy clothes, clothes that hug tight to her skin, skirt, belt, boots. Gonna be learning how to draw all that today. So let's go ahead and get started by drawing how her jacket parts on her chest. She wears a white jacket underneath her hood, so we're gonna draw that first. It curves from her chest out. Oh, by the way, draw her body first. I went ahead and drew her body so that way we could just go right into this. Now her dress is a little bit weird. Her dress actually starts by having a belt right here. So you want to kind of mark out where that belt is, and that belt has a bump to the outside right here. You want to make sure that her belt comes off of her. And see, belts are easy. You just make it bump off a little bit. And there you go. Because the belt is thicker than the rest of her clothing. So you want to make sure it bumps off more than the rest of her clothes. Now, all belts have a buckle. So the way that you draw a buckle is you draw a rectangle on top and a rectangle on bottom. Make sure that these rectangles are pretty much the same width. Then you draw a third rectangle connecting the two that's the same width. And then you just erase the connection. Clean it up a little bit inside. Then you draw another smaller rectangle right in the middle right there. And you have yourself a belt buckle. And we're already off to a really good start. Now RWBY wears this weird thing. It's kind of like a half corset, half like dress thing. And it starts up here and ends right about here and here. So we're going to try and draw that next. You want to, for corsets like this, you want to follow the curve of the body. Again, like I told y'all last episode, you want to follow both the line of action and the curve of the body, but you want to draw a nice big stripe down one side and a nice big stripe, kind of getting closer and closer as you get to the bottom until the very bottom where you kind of flare out at the bottom. Then you draw sort of the strings that you use to tighten it up, which I just do them in a zigzag, sort of like this. Now RWBY doesn't have a very big chest, so you don't have to worry about that. Just be sure to let people know, oh yeah, she's got like she at least has like something there. She's not like concave. But anyways, you want to still follow the curve, like bigger around the chest, smaller around the waist. You want to just try to get these to cross in the middle, or get them as close as you can. Now for the next step of your corset, you want to decide which of these is going to be on top. So I'm going to say the ones going this way are going to be on top, and they are going to overlap going that way. Now, most corsets have, the reason we drew this strip is that most corsets go around and through like a thick leather strap on one side. So you want to go ahead and draw the strap going through that side by just kind of adding a little semicircle over here. Like I'll show you right here. And sort of making that connection. Now the ones on top are the ones that are going to go through the top. So you only really need to do it for the ones going this way. And this one's going to kind of look uneven and crappy, but again, this is a sketch. That's what like cleaning up your line art is for. And y'all, we're getting this out of the way first because it is one of the hardest pieces of clothing to draw. It's one of the most time consuming as well. So you want to go ahead and just do this process all the way down until you finally reach the bottom. That one I'll redo though, because I want them at least a little consistent. Alright, so now we have her basic torso drawn. We need to go, I'm going to go ahead and draw her sleeves and her arms to kind of show you how to draw more puffy clothing and how to draw wrinkles on clothing properly, because that'll be more important later down the line. So you're gonna, for her puffy sleeves go down to just past her elbow, and then she has leather gauntlets that go onto the edge of her, that go onto her forearms. So what you want to do is kind of follow the shoulder out. See how you follow the curve of the shoulder out, and then go back in with a nice big curve. Kind of follow the upper arm curving out, like curving out, and then going back in. And then you've got a nice big puffy sleeve. And look at that. That was easy. That was easy to make a big puffy sleeve like that, and you can kind of mess with how that wrinkle looks to make it look a little bit more natural. And you want your sleeve to connect down here. I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. Since it's puffy, you can go out a little bit right before the edge, before you tuck it back in. Now, for this kind of sleeve, I'm going to do a special wrinkle. I like to just call it a upside down U or a heart wrinkle. So you just kind of draw an upside down U, and it makes a pretty good looking wrinkle. And you can mess with this however you'd like, but we're just going to kind of do the same thing to the other side. And now we have nice, big, puffy sleeves for her to swing her scythe around as she pleases. Now her jacket does have a collar line, so you might want to go ahead and draw that. But now we're going to focus on probably the most famous piece of clothing that she wears. Sticking with the upper body, we're going to go ahead and draw her cape and her hood. Now in the show, her hood wraps all the way around like a big scarf, so that's going to make things a little bit easier on us because we don't have to draw, here's what the front of the hood would be, and then you curve around to the back. Nope, it's all one big long piece. So this hood's going to be really easy. You kind of start right here at the cheek, go down, up, and around. So you kind of make it like bean shaped, but you also want to remember, hey, her head is kind of big, so you want to leave room for that. This bean shape is going to dip down a lot. You might not even see the back right here because it's going to go down. Then I like to add like a layer of wrinkle onto it. That way it feels like it's not just, oh, stuck to the top of her shoulders. That way it feels like, oh, it's just a cloth laying over it. You can see kind of, it goes blip, 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 and it kind of goes off in layers. Now to separate the layers, we're going to go ahead and get rid of her shoulders, because you won't see them with a hood this big. It's okay if you make her hood a little bit oversized. It's anime. You can do that. Now to really make your hood like look layered, you go a little bit in with this top layer, and then you go really in and follow like the top line down for a little bit. And it looks like your hood has multiple layers. And again, this is just the basic concept. You can fiddle with it however you'd like. But for her cape, you just kind of want to swoop down with it, and you want to follow a line. I like to go from right to left and make it do this. Now in volumes 4 and 5, her cape is really tattered, so you want to draw tons of tatters down here. Just kind of go crazy. And again, this is just how I draw stuff. This is how I like process how to draw different things. You can do it your own way, but I just thought I would give my impression on how to draw different clothes. Now capes are really fun because you can just make them these big solid shapes. Her shape, the shape of her cape is more of a triangle. When it comes to character design, there are like 3 different shapes you can use, or like 4 different shapes you can use: triangles, circles, squares, and diamonds. RWBY is more square up top and triangle on the bottom. So that's mainly how we're going to draw her, is more big and blocky on top, but for the bigger like parts that reach down below, it's more of a triangle. And speaking of big triangle parts that reach down below, let's go ahead and line out how her skirt is going to be. Skirts are the hardest part of drawing anime. I probably should explain how to do this. You want to follow the line of her hips down, and then kind of flare out at the very end. So just kind of, seems like this one's going to curve that way, I think. I believe, nah, I think it's going to curve the other way, because you can see her hips are going this direction, so her skirt's going to kind of go that direction too. And she wears a nice big poofy skirt, so we're going to make sure we include some of that fluff on the bottom. Include some of Monty's patented anti-upskirt technology, and include some of the fluff on the bottom that prevents any upskirt shots in the show. So again, hook it, and then you're just gonna make a nice big, that curve's not curvy enough, a nice big curve. Again, just like I showed you last time in my last video. You can erase pretty much anything that the skirt would get in the way of. I don't really like the way that hand turned out. I'm gonna redo the film just a bit. I'm actually just gonna redraw this hand and make it into a fist, because I feel like that'd make her look more tough.
Yeah!
And that is how to draw one of the ugliest skirts I think I've ever seen. But here's how we're gonna make this skirt pretty. We're gonna hide where the top of it starts with a belt, which is also in her design. So just like I showed you earlier, this is a little bit of a improvement on the technique that I showed you earlier for drawing the belt up top. You're gonna come out right above where the belt's top is, and then down. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side, out and down. Because when you do that bump right above, see how it gives off the illusion that it's wrapping around her? And you just kind of follow the curvature of the hips. And we now have a good belt. Now, on the side of her belt, she keeps, like, for some reason, like single shot bullets right here. So we're going to block out. Again, character design starts with just simple shapes. See how this is just a square? So we're going to start out with just a square. We're going to make it have teeth. And I think, yeah, that should be enough. And we're going to split off the teeth at the top. See, I don't know why she carries it like this, but I'm not going to argue because it looks cool. And that's like the second most important thing in character design. Does it look cool? I always tell myself when I'm designing characters, would people want to cosplay this? That's like my first rule, is to think of cosplayers. And that was the same rule that Monty thought of when designing characters like this. Though the original design for RWBY, I think, is... it's not like my favorite design for her. My favorite design for her would be the outfit from Volume 2 that she had. I really liked how it kind of played off of the fact that she was Red Riding Hood by not including a lot of red. But I just think that's like her best look. But anyways, enough fanboying from me, it's time to draw her skirt. So now that we have how her skirt's gonna lay out, we're gonna lay out how her pleats are going to look, or how the wrinkles in the skirt are going to go. So you wanna like draw kind of evenly spaced curves that sort of match up with how the skirt flows. And we're gonna do, probably the easiest way to do this would be to go a little bit out, then come up and curve it. You see how this segment is a little bit shorter than this segment and this segment, because this segment right here is folded inwards, and the skirt's kind of doing this, but you don't really see it. See how the skirt's kind of folded over on itself? But you don't really see it because it's hidden by this fold right here. And the sections that stick out line up nearly perfectly with her legs, so that actually works physically as well. And there you go, you got a nice skirt going on. Now, RWBY has, like, I don't know if you ever see it in the show, I'm gonna add another segment. That's another, like, good thing about this method. You can just add segments on, and as long as they kind of follow the same circular path, they'll look okay. Like, unless you watched me, you would never know that this section was never there before. But now it just looks natural. So if you ever watch the show, and you ever see RWBY like just walking or jumping through the air, you'll notice that she has like this red underskirt, if you will. It's what I like to call anti-upskirt technology, where it prevents upskirt shots in the show. So the way that you would draw fluff like this from just this standing still position is just draw extra little puffs around each segment, kind of following how they each go out. And it's that easy. Again, a lot of this is easy by itself, but when you put it all together, it looks great. Again, you want to try to keep your sketch kind of clean. You don't have to keep it perfectly clean, but kind of clean is okay. Now we move down to her legs, and she wears tights. And the easy way to draw tights is to just draw a curved line right where the tights start. See, now she's wearing big socks. But her tights in the show are tattered. So in order to draw those tatters, we need to just draw some holes. Every now and then of different sizes. Mainly around like where, like her knees or like parts of her leg that would be more exposed in a fight. Such as like just parts of her leg that bend more, or just tatters that look cool and random. So now that we've gotten her tatters, she has like these shin high, like halfway up shin high boots that she wears. So we're gonna learn how to draw boots really quickly. You want to do the same trick that you did for the tights and combine it with the trick that you know for the belt and bump out slightly. Now the key to drawing any good, like, realistic boot is that clothes tend to wrinkle up wherever there is a joint. So you need to just kind of draw a little wrinkle right at where her ankle bends. And now, looks like that leg is wearing a boot. And it doesn't look like at all that she's not wearing like anything on that leg. So for a boot, you kind of, if that's the toe, you kind of bump up. You can kind of manipulate it so that the sole is right there. Again, if it feels like I'm going fast, y'all, I'm sorry. You can rewind the video and watch how I do this, like in slow motion, or just like pause it, or like leave a comment if you think I can improve on this. But right now I'm just drawing the sole of the boot. Kind of follow it around. And now it looks like it's always been there. At least for this one. This one, on the other hand, we haven't done yet. So we're gonna kind of do the same trick. Again, the curve of the thigh is what affects how her tights and her boots look. So we're gonna follow the curve of her leg. Come down. Have a little wrinkle at the ankle. Come around. And the sole of her boot's gonna land right there. And again, come a little bit above the toes and make it more blocky. We're gonna put a heel on it. Just a slight one. Just a slight one. She wears a slight platform. But like it's not enough to throw her off in a fight. I made this foot a little bit too long. So remember, she's not that big. She's actually one of the shorter characters of the show. And you just kind of clean it up. And make sure that between the heel and like the main part of the boot, there's a little bit of space. Now, RWBY's character design makes these boots like overly complex to the point where most artists get mad. So her boots have 3 different straps on them. And the reason that I'm actually going to increase the space in between the platform and the sole on this is that one strap of these boots goes right over the middle right here. So remember the trick we used to draw belts earlier? we're gonna use that same trick to draw straps right here. Bump out a little bit and then come back. But this time they're gonna be two different sizes because it's going through the space between her heel, like it's going through the arch of her foot. And looky there, that strap actually looks pretty good. Now, Rooster Teeth could have just left it at that, but no, they decided to add two more. I think it's two more. Hold on, let me look. Okay, so I stand corrected. It's not actually three, it's four. There is one that goes here, one that goes here, and another that goes here. So, lots of straps. Yay. We get to draw 4 different straps. So go ahead and draw this one. And again, use the same trick that we used for the belt up top by coming off a little bit. Now luckily for us, the buckles are only viewable from the outside of the boot, and we can only see like the front part. So go ahead and like just draw a nice big rectangle to that side, and there's your belt buckle. It's that easy. So now we draw this one, and this one's kind of slanted. So go ahead and draw it a little bit slanted, but remember to curve it. This time have it come a little bit below. Actually, no, that doesn't match the rest. So you want to have it still kind of come up, but you want to follow it a little bit. I made it curve the wrong way. Remember to follow the curve of the leg. It kind of helps if you draw it as a tube. Let's see. So there's that. Remember belt buckle, because all straps have buckles. And then finally, this one. This one's going to give us some trouble because it's right near the top. But I think we can work this out. Okay, we're going to have to fix the top of this boot because it is bugging me. And for that strap, it's more straightforward, so you can kind of cheat the system a bit and draw it more straight. But you do have to keep the thickness the same. Just remember to curve it a little bit. And now we're going to do the same thing for this leg, but it's a little bit easier because we're viewing it from a from a 90-degree angle. So we just have to draw where the straps go. And see how the curve is kind of extreme over here? That's because it's tilted. So when it's tilted, the oval's doing this instead of like down here where it's just doing this. So you have to follow that curve. You just kind of do that number there. Oops, I forgot to hit the brush button. So you just want to erase everything inside the strap because nothing will shine through leather straps. And we have most of her already done. So next part is going to be just like a couple things we forgot to add up here. So you'll notice that in the show, she has like gauntlets right here, like leather, like bracers or gauntlets. And these are pretty easy to draw. You just draw a cuff on one end, which is the same technique we used for belts. I cannot stress enough how like easy it is once you learn that technique of just bumping off the edge a little bit and going over. And we're actually going to change this curve right here. to represent like the gauntlet coming over. Because I think that looks better. Yeah, that looks better. Now, the key to these gauntlets, if you want to draw leather gauntlets, or just any gauntlets in general, kind of have the seam showing, and it shows it's like two pieces, but since these are leather, we're going to add where they joined them together, right here, and we're going to have sort of a seam over there. Now, another key part of RWBY's design is that she has her emblem right here, but I am not going to try to draw her emblem for this because that amount of detail for this is not necessary. So I'm just going to draw like the outline of what her emblem basically is, and then just like random shapes in here that kind of look like a rose that's on fire. Her emblem is like my favorite out of all of them. Maybe hers and Blake's, maybe? I just really like flames. And looking at her design, we might have missed a couple things, but we're almost there. The next like basic thing that she has are straps for her backpack. Now, she's kind of weird. She has straps going down here, which are easy enough to draw. You draw them like a belt, and then you just add a little line that curves back up. So you can see the front, and then you follow it along like you're drawing a cube. Back in high school, you have one side, and then the other side. And we're going to kind of do the same thing over there and kind of show that it's off there. But she's got two extra straps on this arm and one extra strap on this arm, which one over here is easy enough. And that just bumps off her arm a little bit. These two over here, though, cross. So we're going to have to draw two crossing straps. And remember, just like we did with the belts. Come off, and then curve back in. We'll come off a little bit above or below wherever the belt is to show its thickness. Alright, y'all, we are almost done. We've just got to add a couple more things, including the fact that this belt has a nice red trim on it, which I forgot to put in my latest piece. Yay. It doesn't really matter if it was in my latest or not, I guess. I didn't notice it, but I thought it still looked good. And with that, that is pretty close to done, I believe. I think the last thing you would have to do, which is going to be another tutorial, is her face. Trust me, I'll do eyes as another tutorial. They're super hard, and I don't think I could explain it well enough in this one. And there we go. So that's RWBY. Just add. I'm sorry, I like drawing hair. Hair is a lot of fun to do. I cannot wait to do that tutorial with y'all. Or just a tutorial about drawing faces, because I'm going to cover emotions when I do that, and that's going to be super fun. So thanks for joining me for this quick little tutorial on how to draw clothes and how to draw Ruby Rose. Hopefully I can get another one out before the Volume 6 premiere. But until then, guys, I will see you next time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more. Let me know down in the comments what kind of tutorials y'all want to see from this show. And as always, have an awesome day.